The COVID pandemic is still raging on. There is a
COVID-19 pandemic has stepped into the second calendar year. In my own country, last week I checked, we had crossed 35 million people. It is a public health crisis. We also know there is a mental health crisis, this physical disconnection. There's another big crisis, and that's the educational crisis. Children have not gone to school. So the invisible face of the pandemic are the children. It is a crisis of multiple dimensions. It is a crisis that requires all of us to come together.
Almost every person we were connected to had a case in the family and was struggling. There was a sense of helplessness with stocks of medicines running out, unavailability of hospital beds, of oxygen cylinders, and some of our own members passing away without even the possibility of fighting the virus. At one of our online meetings where Archbishop Felix Machado of the Diocese of Vasai was also present, at a certain point he excused himself and wanted to leave.
During the meeting I got a telephone call, and when I got the phone call, it was about the emergency situation in our Catholic hospital. Lives would be lost. There was a situation where we needed a kind of a standby oxygen cylinders. This is the dire need of the hour. People were dying because they could not breathe, and I couldn't bear this.
This cry couldn't be ignored. It was a big struggle, but with the support and generosity of many, we managed to procure 17 oxygen concentrators, some ECG machine and ventilator machine for 3 hospitals. And we tried not to just send the funds, but to ensure that the machine along with the technical engineer reaches the hospital.
God has given me multiple friends because of these groups in the church, these movements in the church. And so I'm ever grateful to the Focolare movement. We can help one another.
Once till late night, we were making calls to find a bed in a hospital for one of the members of our Focolare community.
I felt very weak. We started checking on the hospitals whether there was any kind of beds available, but at that particular moment, there were no beds. So I could not even pray because, you were feeling so helpless, I could not be dejected. They were keenly observing and my progress, and I'm sure they were also praying for me that I will get well fast. And all these things helped me, because I found that I was not alone.
It was almost impossible. We could only go down on our knees and pray for a miracle. The next morning, a bed was found in a good hospital. In Mumbai, a group of young people of the Focolare were moved to do something for the underprivileged, whose plight had worsened, causing it difficult to even procure a proper meal a day. So they cook once or twice a week and distribute about 100 food packages to the people, even those who are under the bridges. And they still continue this initiative and attracting also young people from the nearby parish. The small community in Nepal is also connected with the Focolare in India. And the crisis was as alarming in Nepal as in India. In fact, the lockdown withdrew the main source of their income, which is tourism. So with Yo, one of the members of our community there in Nepal, we managed to gather some funds locally and also with the support of Focolare members in different parts of the world. And with those amounts, they managed to support families who were struggling. In fact, in a letter that she wrote to us, she ended saying, I really want to thank you all for the unity that we experienced here. We felt so connected with the Focolare community all over the world. I think in some way she echoes what we in India feel as well.
The pandemic has given us a real chance to live our faith. Also the collaboration between individuals, between families, between institutions, because the crisis is beyond even governments. the world has to come together. Here, the testimony of the work of the Focolare movement and Shanti Ashram is a great gift. Shanti Ashram and Focolare throughout the country, we were speaking to one another, we were helping. Our young people were doing concrete acts of love. I know this Coligimento is going to be on October 2nd, which is the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi. And I think now in the midst of the pandemic, I think the whole movement can celebrate this thought of Mahatma Gandhi. Faith does not admit of telling alone. We have to live it. How wonderfully we have lived together. The pandemic is not over. Let us continue to pray. Let us continue to find the meaning of unity in the midst of a crisis. Let us continue to serve our fellow brothers and sisters.